All right. Welcome, everybody. To get us our program kicked off today, we have a very special treat. I'd like to bring up to this stage. We have six individuals from the band, the ND trumpet section, to kick off our program. Here we go. All right, here we go. Fire up. Good afternoon and welcome to the 7th annual Knute Rockne Spirit of Sports Awards. I'm the director of media, Mike Need, and I'm so excited about the program that we have laid out for you, the award winners that we have in this room, and really the Notre Dame family that we have gathered in this room. And that's really what we're about at the Rockne Society, is just honoring those individuals that make the Notre Dame family and community that much more special in the name of Knute Rockne. And I also just got to say, in this moment with the the band that just played, the energy in this room, all the events going on this weekend, that little game we got going on tomorrow night. I know the pep rally doesn't start for a couple hours, but I feel like it just started right now. I mean, I see we got some players over here. I mean, get me a jersey and let's go do some blocking and tackling and get ready. I mean, I know that we haven't had the best record against Ohio State, but I have a strong feeling that tomorrow that is all going to change, right? So. So I know it's tempting. We could stay up here and talk about the Ohio State game and hype it up a little bit. We do have a great program lined up for you, and I really had one job, and that was to introduce our host, Allison Hayes. Allison is very talented, and we're blessed to have her with us today with her crazy schedule. And she has been covering the Fighting Irish for the past nearly 20 years. And she has been doing it from the studio, from the sidelines, and then you'll see her on ABC 57 kickoff on Saturday mornings, the premier Notre Dame pregame show here on campus. And she has many of the award winners she's interviewed and had on her segments. So as they come up today, she'll have stories and anecdotes to share along with her spirit and personality and energy that she'll bring and keep us on schedule today. She also shared with me last night one of her stories on the running back coach, right, that was just nominated for an Emmy. So congratulations to her on the running back coach reuniting with his birth father. So just a great story. So along with doing all this work, she's a proud mother of 3 and has a nonprofit for One Good Deed Michiana that honors people doing good deeds in the community. Just we're very good. Blessed to have her talents with us today. So please welcome to the stage Allison Hayes.
All right. Well, thank you. That was a nice welcome. And it's nice to look into this crowd and I see lots of familiar faces, lots of friends, people I'm lucky to be able to call friends now. I did not graduate from the University of Notre Dame, but I grew up here in this area. And it's been an honor to move back and to be able to feel like I am a part of the Notre Dame community. And that's because of folks like you. Just today, sitting at my table having lunch, I made a whole new table of friends and great story ideas because, of course, right, that's my job. So, oh, that's a good story idea. That's a good story idea. But it's just wonderful. I have goosebumps looking around and seeing so many people in here that I feel have welcomed me into the family of what truly is so special about Notre Dame. And it's something that you all should be so proud about and so proud of. And I'm just really honored to be able to be here and be a part of this. And I love that. The trumpets, that was a great idea, Jim and Mike. That got everybody fired up. I've been doing this a long time. I've done a lot of these types of shows, and I've never had some energy to start off a show like we had today. So very excited, and I say we just go ahead and get this party started. What do you guys say? Well, we will start it off by bringing up Jim Lefebvre. Of course, he is the co-founder and executive director of the Knute Rockne Memorial Society. Since its inception in 2017, he is so passionate about Notre Dame, about the history of Notre Dame, and about recognizing the folks within this Notre Dame community who embody all of those qualities of the famous and legendary Knute Rockne. So at this time, I'd love to bring Jim up and have him speak for just a moment.
Thanks, Allison. Thanks, Mike. It is a tremendous crowd, and we are so thankful to each one of you to take some time out of this incredible, busy, big-time football weekend to be with us today. It's a tremendous honor to do this work because of the people and the type of people that we honor. So we're going to take just a moment here and invoke the spirit of Knute Rockne and the spirit of Notre Dame and ask for the grace to emulate these honorees. One of Father Ted's favorite sayings was do good work, just simply do good work. And obviously all these people have done phenomenal work. Since 2017, we've honored at the end of today more than 60 individuals, all tremendous stories. Sadly, we recently lost one of our honorees with the passing of Tony Roberts, the great voice of Notre Dame football. So we're going to take a couple of minutes and recall this wonderful winner of the 2019 Rockne Communicator Award, Tony Roberts.
the Rockets back for it. He's at the 9, to the 10, gets to the 15, the 20, 25, out of the pack, 30, 35, goodbye, baby, at the 50, the 40, the 30, the 20, the 10, 5, Rockets, touchdown, Irish. They come on the blue line. Quick throw. 50, 45, outside 40, 30, down to the 25, 20, 15, 35, touchdown, that's up field, get to the 40, 45, yeah, the 50, down to the 40, 35, 30, one man to beat, down to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown again, Jimmy Brown. And now, the moment of truth. 3 wide receivers right. They're going to go for 2. Back to throw. Look. Has the time. Off the ball. The pass is batted down. Put it soccer-style kicker. The ball to be spotted down by Cagle at the 41. A 51-yard boot. This is the ball game. The kick is up. It is. 3 seconds left to play. 31-24. Notre Dame. Last play of the game. This is it. Ward flushed out of the pocket. Throwing in the end zone. Knocked down by Wood. The game is over. The Irish in the pit. Notre Dame wins. Pandemonium on the field. 31-24. Notre Dame is number 1. One out to the right. Back to throw. Meyer looks. Rolls to the right. Pump fake. Throws the ball. It is caught. Reggie Brooks got it for a 2-pointer, and Notre Dame is out in front 17-16 with 20 seconds left.
How's that for some goosebump-inducing highlights? Fantastic. It was a great pleasure bringing Tony out here 4 years ago. Our theme today is the many roles of Rockne, and we honor Rockne through people who are emulating and duplicating some of his achievements. And it's kind of interesting as you go through his 21 years here at Notre Dame. First as a student athlete, coming here in 1910, and he was a fantastic student, 93 average in a strong curriculum. And then, of course, a standout athlete, first in his first love, track and field, his multi-event standout, and eventually as a starting left end. And in 1913, the first end to be a receiver from his buddy Gus Duray throwing passes. And we honor someone today who 55 years after that came along and pretty much defined the position of wide receiver as an All-American, eventual college football Hall of Famer, and academic All-American at the same time. So that fits. Rockne, of course, gained his greatest fame as the coach, and he coached national champions. He coached a large roster and influenced many, many student athletes. And we have a coach here today who is a national champion, NCAA champion, has been here a while, and has influenced hundreds of lives that have come through his program. And Rockne would be very proud. Rockne also enjoyed his time as athletic director, more behind the scenes. He would organize details down to the smallest detail for the travel for an inter-hall football team to go play off campus somewhere. It's amazing when got into the research to see the level that he was involved in every bit of athletics on this campus. And today we're honoring someone who completely follows that mode, has been involved in athletic administration in almost every area conceivable. And again, Rockne would be very pleased that we're doing that. Rockne was a skilled communicator. He understood the power of mass media, and he fully embraced it as a way to promote Notre Dame. Back in his age, it was mostly newspapers, magazines, newsreels, and the emerging technology of radio. And tonight, this afternoon, we're honoring a fantastic communicator who has done yeoman service in promoting Notre Dame as a skilled communicator. Rockne was an energetic entertainer at heart and a musician. A lot of people don't know this, and unfortunately we don't have any photographic evidence, but he did play flute for the Notre Dame Symphony. And he took that flute, that battered old flute, on football road trips. The famous trip to West Point to play Army in 1913, the entertainment for the 18 guys who made the trip as football players was Rockne playing his flute. And that we have his own hand writing back a postcard to somebody here talking about the old flute made it and the boys seem to enjoy it, something along those lines. So today we honor the Notre Dame band in the person of a tremendous musical educator. This is near and dear to my heart because, as some of you know, I'm the father of two band alums, and it's very special that we're able to honor the tremendous tradition of the Notre Dame band. Rockne was a businessman. He had a number of pursuits, not always authorized, you might say, by the powers that be, but he designed and promoted athletic equipment for Wilson Sporting Goods in Chicago. He conducted coaching clinics literally from coast to coast. All his summers were filled with coaching clinics. He rose to the position of vice president of sales promotion for the Studebaker Company. So he was very active in business. He even had a stock exchange company for a short time. And today we are honoring one of the great businessmen in this region, someone who has taken his business success and raised the lives and improved life for so many people in this region, richly deserving of this honor. Now, Rockne was always about looking forward to the next thing. He was always excited about any new advancement in technology, transportation, whatever it might be. But at the same time, he was a student of history. And today we honor someone who recognizes that history, has preserved it in artifact and in story, and just does a tremendous job year after year in sharing that history with Notre Dame fans literally coast to coast. So those are some of the notable traits of Rockne, and it's just very special that we have people that we can honor today that carry on that similar type of work. Now we want to recognize some special guests who are with us. So we're going to start with former previous winners of Rockne Awards. We had our first event in 2017 where we honored staff members and players from the Ara Parseghian era. And one of those was Coach Brian Bulak, longtime assistant coach and athletic employee here at Notre Dame. And so today with us, please welcome Mickey Bulak. And Mickey brings with her today greetings and best wishes from her great friend and our great friend, Katie Parseghian. We have with us the 2018 Rockne Courage Award winner, Haley Scott DeMaria. Two great friends who shared the 2019 Rockne Leadership Award for their wonderful work with the Play Like a Champion Today education series. Please welcome Kristen Sheehan and Professor Clark Power. And then we have a few folks that we honored in 2021 in Chicago, day before the game at Soldier Field, where we recognized a great son of Chicago, Moose Krause. Please welcome our great friend, Mr. Phil Krause. The winner of the Rockne Leadership Award that year for his decades of service to St. Rita's High School. Please welcome Coach Jay Standring. And the man that I call Mr. Chicago because of his association with the city and the band. He was winner of the Perseverance Award, great friend of the Rockne Society, Mr. Peter Chiavarelli. And as you know, Peter has made that connection between Chicago and the Notre Dame band several times over the years. The first time was when both my daughters were band members in 2006. And at this time, I'd like to introduce, for a quick hello, the Notre Dame Director of Bands, Dr. Ken Dye. Do we have the president of St. Mary's? We do. That's Kate Conboy here to honor her sister. We have some great representation from the athletic department, starting with our head coach of volleyball, Salima Rockwell. We have the legendary basketball player and television analyst, LaFonso Ellis. And from football, he threw for more than 7,400 yards for the Irish, Ron Paulus. And we just watched him score a big touchdown, the fellow who averaged 8 yards a carry his senior year, the great Reggie Brooks. Now, lacrosse is a theme today, so we want to introduce the namesake family for our lacrosse stadium. Please welcome John and Bobby Arlotta. And finally, one very special guest is with us. He is an individual who joined the Notre Dame family via his 2 very talented daughters, something I can relate to. And he has gone on to become one of the great friends and ambassadors for this university. I think I can safely say I speak for everybody in the room in saying that we wish him continued success in his battle for good health. Please join me in welcoming Dick Vitale. Again, thanks to each one of you for being here. You make this a special event. And now let's meet our honorees. We'll turn it back to Allison.
Okay, now that we called everyone out of your seat, I'm going to bring you all up here as a surprise, and you have to speak for everyone today. No, I'm just kidding. Don't panic, anybody. We'll get started with the actual program. And the cool thing is that we actually have some videos for all of our honorees today, and I can braggingly say that the majority of them have come from ABC 57 Kickoff, and it's been a real treat, though, to have that opportunity to meet so many of you and to share your stories and to be a part of that and to help pass on your legacy and to our viewers here and around the country. Our show is obviously a local Notre Dame football pregame show, but it also streams literally around the world. We were able to have our show streaming live in Dublin, Ireland this season, so very exciting to be a part of that. To start us off, our very first video is going to be of an actual 2019 honoree who was not able to be here in attendance for that award because he suffered a heart attack right before the award show. So I'm not supposed to say the name or anything like that, but we will let you see our video and then we'll bring him up.
Our story at the Morris begins in the 60s.
I started in 1966 as a busboy. I've held many different hats, I guess.
He knows his customers very well. He knows what everybody drinks. He remembers pretty much what everybody who comes in from out of town occasionally drinks. He's not asking them. He's just serving it. And he gets along with everybody. You'd be shocked to see on a football weekend, the number of people who actually come in here, they may not even have a drink, but they come in to say hello to Murph because they haven't seen him in a while.
When I tell my friends, you got to meet this guy, and without trying, he lives up to the billing. We'd ask Murph questions like, does Father Hesburgh come in? Has Joe Montana ever dropped by? What's he like? And all you got to do is say a name, and that's 10 minutes of gold. Because he's got stories of them all, and when so-and-so got in trouble, or when Reagan had to be walked back to his room, or he could just go on and on. And so we're just sitting there enjoying ourselves, and you got a beer and a show.
On a regular basis, Joe Montana, I played softball against Joe Montana. So Joe used to come in the bar and talk cholesterol, potato chips, and about his children. So, and the thing was, you never talked football. The minute you talked football, Joe was done. Stick Vitale, Regis Philbin, there's Joe Thias, Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight, Steve Martin Short.
I mean, he's the keeper of an oral tradition that you're not going to find anywhere else. It's a fabric, and it's golden.
You'll hear the saying around this place that somebody bleeds gold and blue. Murph does bleed gold and blue. I mean, this has been his life's work.
He's a very spiritual man, but he's not gonna put spirituality or politics or anything else out in front of the bar. But when I come on Sunday nights, he'll text me. He goes, "Hey, meet me at 8:40 on the side door. We'll go to mass." I'm like, "All right, Murph, I'm there, dude." They're gonna remember him because there's only one like him. You don't see that in this day and age anymore.
I'm fortunate. I mean, I don't know what I did to live this good life. I mean, not too many things went wrong for me. I mean, everything is just falling in line. And I always say, I said earlier, there's a song by Jay and Americans, Only in America. Could I go from unloading dishes to what I think is the best job on campus? It's made me a better person. Somebody will walk by and say, that old bartender's still there. I'm on my third generation of people, because when I started here, that was the parents, and then they had kids. At this point in my life, I can see it coming to an end eventually, and I hate to see it because I have so much fun back here. Uh-huh. It's not often you get to go to a job and you enjoy it. Management's been great to me. They even bought me a ring and made me an honorary alumnus.
If you've ever been to Roar's, you've had one of Murph's drinks. It is my honor to present Distinguished Service Award winner for 2019 and bring him up as an honoree right now, Patrick Murph Murphy. Let's come this way, for just a second. We'll take a photograph over here. We have to pose for the pictures. And now I get to do a little interview with you. This is my job, and I'm going to put you to the test here. But you said you got a little choked up watching that. What does this honor mean to you?
Well, this is amazing, first of all. Usually I have these people and everybody has a drink in their hand and yelling at me. So it's kind of nice that everybody's quiet here. But there's so many people in this room that have just guided me. And, God gives you angels, and especially the lady on top of the dome. And they're here, from Sharon, from my boys, and from Alicia, and as Dave from Maine says, Dave Laban, I should say, he said, this is the floor of heaven. So, and it is. Notre Dame is the floor of heaven. So, I'm honored.
You were not able to be here in 2019, but you are able to be here today, and you look great. How do you feel, and how great does it feel to be up here?
Feels good. It's I can do a 15-hour day, and at the end of it, I'll welcome everybody back after the Ohio State game. I probably shouldn't say this after we kick their butts. So, yeah, it's going to be nice. It's hard work, but it's fun. And like I say, I see so many people in this room that I met, and almost every one of the award winners. And it's an honor. So, yeah, I appreciate it.
If there was ever a room to say that to, this was the right room to say it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've been blessed. I mean, that's all I can say for sure.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Well, now I'm going to get choked up and get emotional up here. That was amazing. Congratulations. And we're so happy that you are able to be back here with us today. I know everyone in this room is so grateful for you. So thank you for all of your years of service here at Notre Dame. And we'll have to go see him after the party here today, right? We'll head over to Roars to go see him. Our next award is the Communicator Award. Let's take a look.
Grant Long, 3. Pastoria, 4-3. Jackson for 3. Got it. Pastoria for 3. Got it. Got it. Got it for 3. Got it. Jackson for 3. Got it. Right corner Pastoria, 3 on the way. 3 is good. Got it for 3. Got it for 3.
And of course, one person who won't be with the Irish this fall, Jack Nolan.
Jack would go on to study broadcasting at the University of Missouri and got his first job at CNN. A year later, he landed in South Bend.
The Notre Dame football sideline reporter, long-time radio play-by-play voice for the Irish basketball team. He is retiring after 45 years in broadcasting. Now,
I dreamed of announcing games from the time I was very, very young. Played sports, but I always thought about announcing games.
Up burning clock, now drives to the lane, double pump, scoop shot, up and good! A spectacular across the lane drive!
Jack may have put down his microphone, but he'll always have the love of Notre Dame. Jack Nolan, I feel very fortunate to be able to call you a friend. As a young person coming into this business, Jack is someone who I very much looked up to and was maybe a little bit intimidated of at first because, you know, he's a presence to be dealt with. And he has never done anything but made me feel welcomed and helped pass along some of his knowledge and advice to someone like me. And so I greatly appreciate that. What you have contributed, people don't understand how much work goes into what he did on a daily basis. You see him on TV, you hear his voice on the radio, but that is hours and hours and days and weeks of studying, of researching, of writing, and he's a perfectionist, and he did his job to perfection. I think we can all agree, Jack Nolan's got it. Congratulations on our Communicator Award.
It's hard for me to express how honored I am to be here today. And you have to go so far back in the archives, I didn't pull any, but I also came here to do football. Many of you may remember from 1982 through 1990, we did the games on WNDU. I did them with the late Jeff Jeffers. And that first year, I was faking it because I didn't believe that I was good enough to do it. And at 22 years old, and I'm announcing Notre Dame football on TV. It was a heady experience. And I remember that year, Notre Dame goes in and they take on, in 1982, Dan Marino, a #1 ranked Pitt. And on Pinkett goes crazy, and they win. And then NBC played one of my calls. And then I won an AP award for that game. And I said, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, I'm going to last. And I think I did. I want to thank Jim Lefevre and Mike Need. Keep an eye on these guys. I went to their luncheon in Chicago a couple of years ago, and they set up a side trip. But only 6 of us went. It was to Knute Rockne's childhood home. And it was fascinating. And they're putting together videos and whatnot. And he didn't say this, but I'll thank all of you on his behalf. This is the largest luncheon that they've had. So thank you very much for supporting this process. For me, anytime I'm honored, and it doesn't happen that often, and it shouldn't, but anytime I'm honored by any entity connected to Notre Dame, it's deeply meaningful. But this means even more to me because of the class that I am part of. The folks you're about to see, Tom Gatewood, a shining example of what we call a true Notre Dame man, a trailblazer at Notre Dame who went on to be a great success at just about everything he tried to do, including winning Emmy and Peabody Awards for his work in television. In my world, that's a pretty big deal. Since he's moved back to South Bend, my wife Ron and I have had an opportunity to spend a few evenings with Tom and Susan, and we can attest they are wonderful people. It's great that they're back. Kevin Corrigan. Kevin and his wife Liz are among Rhonda and my favorite people at Notre Dame. We probably really got to know Liz first because she used to run by our house on the south side of South Bend every day, occasionally stopping to chat. I've always loved talking with Kevin Corrigan. He used to come to a few basketball practices every year just to see how they were doing. And we'd sit on the sidelines, and if they were struggling, I'd try to, explain why they were struggling. Well, there's no BS about Coach Corrigan. He would have none of it. He would quickly tell me what they needed to do to improve, and it usually involved which body parts needed to be kicked and which body parts needed to grow. And he knows, yeah, absolutely. When he was there, I said, this is going to be a good practice. I'll tell you that. Missy Convoy was the captain of the Notre Dame women's basketball team when I got to WNDU in 1982, and she's always been a great source of encouragement since she returned to the university in 1987. Missy, thank you for that. There are not very many things, if any, that go on in the Notre Dame athletic department that Missy is not somehow involved with. Mike Leap. Is there a more generous man in the Michiana community than Mike Leap? Whenever there is a charity event of any note, Mike Leap's gonna be there. And if he can't be there because of a conflict, he sent a check, which is the most important thing when you talk about a charity. He used to joke that my wife Ron and I were his anchor team because he sponsored the New Center 16 Sunday morning show we did for a number of years. And Mike, since he sponsored it, Ron and I want you to know we're appreciative that you helped pay our salary for all those years. That was very nice indeed. Larry Dwyer. Anybody who's been around Notre Dame, started this event. I'm not sure there's a school where the band is more intertwined with all of the major events at a university than the Notre Dame band. So how great a job Larry Dwyer does. Now, Notre Dame does a pretty good job in Heritage Hall with their memorabilia. But if you want to see the real fun stuff and maybe buy some of it too, you've got to stop by Augie's locker room and talk to Jim Augustine. I had dinner with him last night, fascinating guy, and boy, does he know where all the good stuff is. And of course, on the second event, you just saw the main event, Patrick Murph Murphy, legendary Morrison bartender, Notre Dame expert, psychologist, and friend to everyone he meets. I'm so honored to be included in this group. Now, when Jim called me to tell me I was getting this award, I was deeply moved. And people often ask me, why did you stay at Notre Dame for 39 years? And the answer is simple. It was and is an honor and a privilege to be associated with the players and coaches who commit to compete at Notre Dame. Folks, Notre Dame is hard because they demand you do things the right way and you put in the work. I know one player who transferred to another school came back and said, what's the difference? It's not that the students at Notre Dame are smarter. It's because how hard they make you work in the classroom to prepare you for what comes after. And I witnessed that for 40 years, the tremendous commitment that these players have to put in to succeed here. And because of that, one of my pillars of performance was that I always treated all the players and coaches with respect because of the commitment they had made to try to succeed here, win or lose, because they deserved nothing less. I also wanted to make the games fun to listen to and watch because the fans are as emotionally involved in the games as the players and coaches. And heck, who wants to watch or listen to a boring game? So I always tried to make it fun. Even if my stomach was churning because things weren't going well, or in a 40-point blowout. Who wants to listen to a boring game? So I always try to keep my energy up and make it sound exciting, even when the game got to the point where it was really over. I have been blessed over the years with many great broadcast partners. Two of them are here today. Equally important to me, but since it's a football luncheon, let's start with Reggie Brooks. Reggie's still doing the post-game radio show, so he's probably going to approach my 39 years one of these times, unless he says he snuck out. Oh, that's all right. I'll talk him up anyway. You tell him I talked about him. But I mean, for 3 hours after a game, he always had great analysis, but we had fun, and he got me a lot of guests from my TV and radio shows over the years because Reggie, nobody knows the football program like Reggie. And then possibly the nicest man on the planet, LaFonso Ellis, spent 3 years with me as my analyst on the Notre Dame Basketball Radio Network, and then kept coming back to do a couple of games each year. People ask me what my favorite basketball game was. It was the 5 overtime win over Louisville. LaFonso that night was my analyst. But if you listen to the highlights online, you don't hear him much because this is how unselfish he is. I've worked with lots of folks who want to be part of it, and they're always, woo, woo, great shot. LaFonso understands the business. He knew radio is picture painting, and you can't paint a picture if two people are talking. So he stayed out of the way. He got in and out and in and out. And the highlights, they just cut the play. It was one of the best broadcasts I've ever done. Thank you for everything, LaFonso. I do want to point out my brother, Evan, who came down from Chicago with a Knute Rockne bus that apparently was stolen from a bar 50 years ago. Jim, you need to talk to him because this thing has got to have a story. There's one other person I want to mention today, and he was my radio engineer for just about every broadcast for the last 20 years, Bob Henning. He's probably going to be mad at me for this, but there's no way I could have done the job that I did without him. I didn't have to worry. It's hard to get broadcasts on the air now. When I started, you hooked a phone into a mixer with a microphone, and you talked. And it sounded like you were talking on the phone. Now you've got basket mics and floor mics and reverse mics, and you're sending it to a satellite, and then it goes to a distribution center. I didn't have to worry about that, even though the most important thing in a broadcast is getting the darn thing on the air. He always got it on the air. Bob, thank you. Now, it's time for me to wrap up, but I want to point out, oh, don't be that excited. You talk about why you stay at Notre Dame, and I think the biggest reason is, and I don't think it gets enough play in some quarters, we talk about 4 for 40. You give 4 years to Notre Dame to prepare for the next 40 years. But I think it's beyond just having personal success. What I have found over the years is that Notre Dame student athletes go out into the world and they make the communities where they live better places to live. And I don't know of any other school where universally, not an exception here or there, where universally it becomes in the DNA of graduates and athletes to go out and improve the places where they live. And that, I think, is Notre Dame's #1 legacy. Folks, thank you again, Rockne Society. Thank all of you for being here. A lot of familiar faces. I know someone said, well, you're going to yell, got it? Well, I don't think I need to after that video, but I always ended my TV and radio shows with, and as always, go Irish.
Thank you very much to Jack. We just learned exactly why he won the Communicator Award. I could listen to him talk all day long, and at times I have. So he likes to talk just like I do. Our next award is the Distinguished Service Award.
By Larry Dwyer, Assistant Director of America's first university band, the Band of the Fighting Irish. Larry is a 1966 Notre Dame graduate and was named Outstanding Bandsman as a senior. Larry.
I'm just delighted to be here. It's a dream to work at this place because, first of all, the University of Notre Dame has such a great tradition, and to have been a student and to come back and get to work with these wonderful students that we now have, it's just terrific. One of the great things is that we only 1% of the students in the band are music majors, so it is open to students from every academic discipline, and they all do extremely well academically, and they say being in band here for 4 years, best decision they ever made. We also have 3 concert bands, 3 athletic bands for men's, women's basketball, hockey, which is hugely popular at Notre Dame.
Larry Dwyer is our Distinguished Service Award winner. Larry, as you heard in the video, a 1966 graduate of Notre Dame. He was named the best bandsman, best trombonist, and outstanding bandsman here while he was at Notre Dame. And I talked to him earlier, and he told me of all of the years of working with this band, America's first university band, by the way, 135 years of football and the band being intertwined. He said of all of his years working with Notre Dame since 2001, that he's been to other places and he's worked for other bands or been a part of other bands, but there's no place like Notre Dame where it is so intertwined, football and basketball and the sporting events and the university itself and the traditions and the history. And I get goosebumps just talking about it. There is no doubt that what Larry does and his entire team that he works alongside and what they put together out on the field is spectacular, and Notre Dame wouldn't be Notre Dame without the marching band. So thank you so much. Let's bring him up here now. We'll take our pictures and I'll let him speak.
Thank you all very much, and particularly want to thank Jim Lefebvre and the Rockne Society, really on behalf of the Notre Dame band, because yeah, I'm part of that group, but it's the band that really brings the university alive. I want to particularly thank Dr. Ken Dye, the brilliant director of bands at Notre Dame, who has built the modern Notre Dame band into literally the best university band in the United States. Dr. Ken Dye, please stand up. I also want to thank him because he's the guy that hired me for this job. And it was kind of interesting because at the time, I had just previous to that, I had done some adjunct college teaching, but for a quarter century had been a band director in the South Bend Public Schools. So I was at the top of the salary scale in the public schools, right? So he hires me, and I'm a first year assistant band director. The bean counters at Notre Dame offered me a salary that was actually a salary cut from what I was making. So the other person I would like to thank deeply is my wife, Deborah, who is here. Please stand up. Please stand up. Because I said, Deborah, I've got to take a pay cut if I want to go to Notre Dame. She asked me one question. She said, "Is this your dream job?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Take it." And I did. So it's been wonderful to be here all these years. And I'd like to thank the other musicians and band staffs, wonderful people to work with all the time. Uh, I'm a musician, so I'm interested in music, obviously. And I wanted to tell you that the greatest song ever written, and you heard it about a half hour ago, is the Notre Dame Victory March. Yes? I do about a 20-minute presentation, which I'm not going to do tonight, where I do the music theory and analyze it and compare it with 20 other famous university fight songs, and Notre Dame comes out number one. But just briefly, think about for a second, think about the lyrics of the song. Cheer, cheer for old Notre Dame. Okay, that's kind of businesslike. It tells you what you're supposed to do, cheer, and who you're going to cheer for, Notre Dame, all right? But then it goes poetic, amazingly so. Wake up the echoes cheering her name. What are the echoes? That's you. That's every student, every alumnus, every Subway alum, every fan of Notre Dame in the world. Those are the echoes. I mean, that's an amazing line. And then what's next? Shake down the thunder from the sky, right? So that's really calling upon divinity to help us. Of course, you all recall Lou Holtz's famous line that God doesn't care who wins the game, but his mother does, right? So perhaps stretching theology a little bit, but yes. So the Victory March was written in 1908 by two Notre Dame graduates, John and Michael Shea, but they actually wrote it on a church organ. And so, okay, fine. Uh, it wasn't played very much at Notre Dame. In 1923, Joseph Casasana became the director of the Notre Dame band. Uh, Brilliant musician. He's the one that composed the music for our alma mater, Notre Dame, Our Mother. So you've heard his songs all the time. He took the Victory March and arranged it for the marching band the way that it is heard today. And we still play it the same way that he did in 1923. When was it first played? At the Georgia Tech game on October 27th, 1923. A month from now, that'll be 100 years, okay? Georgia Tech game. So, football team under brilliant coach Knute Rockne, the band played the Victory March. What was the result? Notre Dame won 35-7, all right? Let's applaud, all right? That was the first time the Victory March was played by the Notre Dame band at a football game. What was the last time it was played at a football game? Well, last Saturday. We played Central Michigan, brilliant football coach Marcus Freeman, and Notre Dame won 41-17. All right. Do you see a pattern there? The Notre Dame football team, a brilliant coach. The band plays the Victory March. The opponent is some school which has the name of a state in their title, and Notre Dame wins. So that was the first time, yeah. So we've talked about the first time and the last time that the Victory March was played at a Notre Dame football game. What's the next time it's going to be played? I think that would be tomorrow. And it happens that we're playing some school, I think they're from someplace in Ohio. The name of Ohio, the state, is part of their name. So we've got the Notre Dame football team, a brilliant coach, Marcus Freeman. The band is going to play the Victory March. This opponent has the name of a state in their name. What do you think is going to win? Notre Dame is going to win tomorrow. Okay. So I want to finish with two words. You've heard them many times before, even earlier this evening or this afternoon. I only remember the first one. I need everybody else to help with this. So let me hear you. Go. All right. Thank you.
That was surprisingly a fantastic speech. Maybe the best one I've ever heard up here. That was so great, Larry. Thank you so much. I'm fired up now. You guys fired up? Let's go. Beat Ohio State. Our next award is our Champions Award.
I think it'll be a great thing for all the people who've ever played at Notre Dame to be able to say they were part of building towards a championship program and a championship team. But I think the biggest thing will be about going through it with that team, and that experience. I know what the experience was of getting there with the team and getting to that last second of of the championship. If you fall, I'll pick you up. I don't think it needs to get more complicated than that. We're playing for each other. We're playing for what we believe in, for what we work so hard for, but mostly we're playing for each other. It's that simple. Let's go.
See this right here, because I love seeing these guys celebrating themselves on this field. I couldn't be better.
Just dedicated so much time and effort to ultimately winning this national championship, and we really wanted to get it done for the alumni, like Liam said, and especially for Coach Corey.
I think that'll be the biggest thing. It's just to go through that and to be able to walk away with the win in that last game.
Our Champion Award winner, Kevin Corrigan. He is the longest active tenured coach in lacrosse for Division I across the board. He has been with Notre Dame since 1988, and he comes from a family of lacrosse players and coaches, and of course, lacrosse is his life. But talking to him today a little bit before this award show, I said, well, when you look back at it, I mean, we know the championship and all of that good stuff, but what is it that really stands out to you that maybe that it's most memorable? And he told me it is those relationships with his players over the years. He said that guys from his first team are now 55 years old, by the way, and probably grandpas at this point, but to watch them grow into young men and into fathers and husbands and doctors and lawyers and grandfathers has been really the highlight for him. Without further ado, I bring up our reigning national championship winning coach, Kevin Corrigan.
Thank you. Thank you for the reminder of exactly how old I am. I already know that because I was hoping for an intermission before I had to stand up and talk. But I, this is really, I'm really honored and I'm especially happy to be here with my family. Was able to be here all but my son, but and relieved for my daughter who asked me, before. So, did we already win something or are we just nominated? It's good to know we're up here, Tal. We made it. One of my players asked me recently why I became a coach. Actually, an alarming number of my players have asked me why I became a coach. But it's easy for me. My dad was a coach, right? I grew up with a father who was in athletics and so I loved being around the game. I loved everything about it. But really, more than anything else, what I loved was seeing the impact that he was able to have and the relationships that he had with people, with again, players from over the years that was so meaningful to us. And so I was lucky enough to have an opportunity to come to Notre Dame and all those years ago. I guess the question now people ask me more is why are you still here? But honestly, I'm lucky to be here. One of the things when I first got here, I found a Knute Rockne quote, and I've had it on my desk ever since then. He said, 4 years of football at Notre Dame are calculated to breed in the average man more of the ingredients of success in life than any academic course he takes. Now, none of my professors would have been at all surprised that that's the quote that I picked. I can promise you that. But I don't look at that as him at all elevating academics or athletics over academics in any way. I think what it really was a call to understand, the responsibility of being a coach, because these guys who come to school here, they hear your voice every day for 4 years, and that's a big responsibility. It's also an amazing opportunity, and I feel lucky that I've had that opportunity to do that and do that at a place as wonderful as Notre Dame. So on behalf of my staff who are here, Coach Wellner, Coach Wojcik, Coach Garnsey, who I'm not standing here without those guys. They do a fabulous job, but also the support people around our program, Mandy Merritt, Josh Scooby, the academic services people, the job that they do. It's a pretty cool thing. Pretty cool thing to be at a place like this where you get so much support for what you're doing. And what you're doing is not winning games. What you're doing is growing young people. And this place does it like nowhere else. And with wonderful support from all the people that are involved. So thank you. Thank you for this recognition. And I accept it on their behalf. Thanks.
I think we can all hear why his players are so dedicated to him and why he's so motivating to him. That was wonderful. Congratulations to you and good luck for this. He said his 36th season. So Good luck this spring. Our next award is the Community Leader Award.
Nothing makes me special. Nothing. I just get up in the morning. I can tell you that my father told me how to give money away, and my mother taught me how to make it. If that's special, then I blame it all on them.
You're going to be in the sales business. Obviously, you have to be great with people. And my dad loves people. He loves talking to people. He loves learning about people.
Talking about loyalty, I think it's very important in life that when people are good to you, that you be good to them. And I think that that's where loyalty comes in. And there isn't anything I wouldn't do for Mike. And there's nothing Mike wouldn't do for me.
Mike has always been a giver. And let me tell you, what he's done, that's all fine and dandy. But what you don't know he's done, the lives he's touched, the people he's put through college. I mean, all those things that no one knows about.
First thing that the kids do mention is his humility. Because it's someone who is so out there in the public and has been honored so many times and have so many dear friends. And after a while, sometimes you get a little big of a head. I have never in all these years seen this with Michael.
He is very passionate about his business succeeding, but he's even more passionate about our community, his family, and others succeeding. And because of that, and because of the fact that he has, again, time and time again, answered the call.
The impact that he has had on the car business is legendary by itself. I mean, he is, to be able to grow this organization to this size, but I don't think that's where his legacy will really be known in the long run. I think there are so many organizations that would not be here today from a charitable standpoint and doing the service they are to the community if it hadn't been for his involvement and his willingness to jump in early and really help them to succeed.
It was back in 2003 that the Women's Care Center Foundation was formed, and Mike agreed to be our founding chairman. Well, Mike is still our chairman because we've kind of anointed him chairman for life. He, through his leadership and his vision and his passion and his goodness, he took an organization that just had a handful of centers here in Michiana to now the largest pregnancy resource center in the United States with 32 locations in 11 different states. None of that would have been possible without Mike.
When I was a manager in the store, we didn't talk about what the profit was for that month. We talked about what could we tithe that month, because they believed in giving back to the community. And every month there was a donation made if we made money.
But more importantly, and this is my dad's main thing, is that it's the right thing to do. If once, these people who are our customers, they come and they trust us with a very large purchase, and they choose to do business with us, and they have options. And so it's important to take that and say, hey, we thank you, and put a little bit of that back out into the community.
I think that Mike is, without question, one of the most giving, caring, and concerned people that you would ever meet, both as a friend and in a community. And I think that Father Hesburgh summed it up when he said the best way to live your life is to live it for others. And I think that's exactly what Mike does.
Mike Leap started his career back in the 60s and then grew what started as just one car dealership to now expanding to 36 automotive retail dealerships and around the Midwest, 36 of those. So from 1 to 36. I think we've all, if you live in this area, you know what I'm going to say, right? Beep beep It's Girly Leap. Exactly. Maybe the best tagline in this area forever. Everyone will always remember that. But it's beyond what he's done in the automotive business and what he's done in the business world. It's that philanthropic heart that he has. And he's helped the Logan Center, that we saw the video, the American Cancer Society, Boys and Girls Clubs, so many I can rattle off. He's been a part of that, even at the smallest levels. I have a very small nonprofit here in town called One Good Deed Michiana, and we actually have been a benefactor of one of his grants that he gives. And he has no idea just how much a small amount like that of a difference that can make for someone that's just trying to get by and make a little bit of a difference in the world. And he told me that his goal every day is to try to do something good. What if we all just did that, right? All of us just took, just do one good thing for someone else every single day. What a difference that would make in the lives of so many people in our community. So, without further ado, our Community Leader Award, Mike Leap.
Good afternoon. Look at all these wonderful people out here. Every one of them can buy a car. So think of me. I'm standing up here, Jack Nolan, the Silvertown Devil. I'm not going to be anything like that, that's for sure. First of all, I want to congratulate the fellow recipients of this award. And I would like to recognize my family. So if you're my family, please stand up. So I have a tennis player, I got a football star that wants to be, and then I've got a granddaughter back there who is at the Notre Dame School of Business, and she's killing it. So really excited about that. Anyhow, you've had some really great people on this stage. You've got a lot of great people coming. I thank you all for being here today. I am humbled to receive this award, and God is good. And I'll leave you with that.
Sometimes it doesn't take a lot of words to get your message across, right? And actions definitely speak louder than words. Congratulations to you and for all of the work that you've done in our community. Our next award is the Heritage Award.
I'm Jim Augustine, also known as Augie. We're at Augie's Locker Room here in South Bend at Campus Shops. I would say it's a museum where you can actually buy some of the exhibits. Well, I've been a Notre Dame fan all my life, went to St. Joe High School across the street. I started doing a little research, found out from my family that my dad lived 6 homes from Rockne. I thought that was pretty interesting, and so I've always kind of had this tremendous interest in the history. When I was a little boy, I had polio. When I was at Northern Indiana Children's Hospital on Saturdays of game day, I could hear crowds cheering, the band playing. And so when I finally got to my first game, it wasn't just about Notre Dame football. It was about just the whole atmosphere of being in the stadium. My dad took me to my first game when I was about 10 years old, and after the game, I walked around and picked up all the ticket stubs I could find. It started with ticket stubs, and it grew to just about anything you could think of, Notre Dame. For example, this is one of the uniforms that was used in the movie Rockne All-American, and then you've got the modern day uniform over here. You come into our store and you see things like this that you probably don't see anywhere else. I don't know where you would see this. I've had players come in here and say, tell me more about Rockne and the Four Horsemen. I want to know more about that. I've had students come in here and say, Joe Montana played for Notre Dame? But that's part of what we're doing. We're trying to just make sure that people do not forget what this is all about across the street. It's not just about a Notre Dame football game on Saturdays. It's about where it all began and why. And I want the store to reflect that.
Our Heritage Award winner, Jim Augustine, or Augie as he's better known, and of course Augie's Locker Room. If you haven't been to Augie's Locker Room, you should, when you leave here, you should go there today. It is, as he said, it is a museum of Notre Dame artifacts. It's spectacular what he has on display, what he has for sale, and what you can take home, a piece of history, but also there's some special pieces he likes to leave up and just make sure that he knows where they are and that he can talk to you about them and share that experience. This award goes to someone who works to promote the history of Notre Dame. And when you talk to Augie, you can feel that passion that he has for Notre Dame and all things Fighting Irish. At this time, I'd love to bring Jim up on stage to present him with our Heritage Award. All right, now I get to do my job here and I get to do a little interview with Jim. If, as I said, when you walk into Augie's locker room, it is like walking back into a time machine. How have you been able to curate such incredible pieces there?
It's been a passion ever since I was a little kid. As it was mentioned, when I attended my first game, I actually was on crutches and in a brace from polio. My dad sat in our seat, and I walked all the way around the stadium and picked up ticket stubs. And it grew. It kept growing, and my passion kept growing. And my dad had a connection because he lived close to Rockne. So that's where it started. I'm not sure I'm even supposed to be up here, am I?
You have so many special pieces in there, and you said a lot of people almost feel like it's a museum, but it's not. But it has a little bit of museum-esque to it.
Yes, they say it's a museum where you can buy the exhibits, but I'll probably not sell a lot of those exhibits. Evan, I'm curious, is that for sale? Okay, we'll talk. All right.
Everything's got a price, Augie.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's my go-to place, my passion, my purpose. I go there every day and just, I love it. Just being around the history and to preserve that history.
What is your favorite part about having someone maybe walk in the door for the first time and to see a special piece or see something that reminds them of back when they went to their first game?
Yes, every time somebody walks in, they just say, "Oh my gosh, I've never been to a place like this. There's nothing like it." And there isn't. I don't think there's anything near on campus like our shop. Unfortunately, there is no museum over there, and I don't know why. There's such great artifacts that are somewhere hidden away, because I know I used to give appraisals on things being donated. I don't know where they are. I wish they were in my store, but yeah.
Well, congratulations. Thank you so much for sharing those relics with all the rest of us.
May I just acknowledge some of my family, my good friend Melanie Meyer, I guess 5 of my kids out of the 6, and I think 2 of the grandkids. I think I have 15, but I'm not sure. And 2 of them are here, so I'd like to recognize those kids. Could everybody stand up in my family, please?
And I heard that was a surprise for you today as well.
Well, yes, some of them showed up. I wasn't expecting that. That is a surprise. But we are all Augies, by the way. So you might get us confused. So thank you.
Congratulations. Next up is our Leadership Award.
Boy, it's hard to really talk about any one ability. She's been here for 37 years. She's had a leadership role for the majority of the time that she's been here, has been involved in every aspect of the athletic department, short of maybe one or two areas.
I think probably the most tangible achievement that we see around us is her work on the Campus Crossroads project, the renovation and really the transformation of the stadium. And that was Jack Swarberg's vision, but it was very much Missy's execution. And when I walk through that space, you know, I'll see something new and I'll always say, that has Missy Convoy written all over it, because there's nothing that she's really better at than drawing connections.
Yeah, I think when Missy spearheaded the program to honor the women, 250 women with the honorary monogram awards, that was such a big deal to honor those that really laid the foundation for all of us. For me, for my student athletes to be here at Notre Dame, it's a big deal. As a coach of women, when you can share with them and have them understand the history before them, it just makes everything that much more meaningful.
I've known Missy since I was a freshman here at Notre Dame, and I had a unique experience here. It was a hard time for me being a student athlete here and being involved in the women's swim team bus accident. And Missy was always a smiling face. She always put us, our team, first as students and people before athletes. I always knew how much she cared about us. I knew how much she wanted us to be okay as people, and certainly achieve our goals as swimmers as well. But it has been a privilege to now call her a friend. I used to say when I was a student athlete here that when I grew up I wanted to be Missy Convoy. I am now 50 years old and I still want to be Missy Convoy when I grow up.
She's an inspiration. I think Missy Convoy is someone that's motivated. She is incredibly motivated to work hard for women, for women's rights, for young athletes, for student athletes. And for me, it's inspiring. I strive to be like Missy in everything that I do, how she thinks, how she operates. Everything she does is with a purpose. I'm doing this with the intent of making something better for someone else.
Missy's a force of nature. And if you think about Notre Dame athletics and the arc of her career here, she's touched every aspect of the industry and is really a pioneer, you know, in her own athletic participation, but just in providing a springboard for young women who are thinking about a career in athletics. And she's part of the fabric of every single thing that you see athletics doing today here at Notre Dame.
She's been a personal mentor and friend to me for over 35 years. I look up to Missy and I lean on Missy a lot in order to learn some of the things that I've learned. She's a great person to work with. She's a great colleague, and the university is blessed to have had her here for the length of time that we've been able to have her here.
I've always believed that the fabric of her leadership shows through all of our facilities, but her most important leadership legacy is what she's left with her student athletes. I can't think of a student athlete over the past 30 plus years who has not been touched by her inspiring leadership, especially as a female athlete. I know she has been a role model for all of us.
Missy Convoy was a Notre Dame women's basketball player, a captain. She has been a 35-year veteran within the athletic department at Notre Dame, wearing many hats. She is a deputy within the Title IX, and she's just done a little bit of everything. For someone like me, a woman trying to find my place in the world of sports, she is someone to look up to, someone who shows us that we belong here. We have a place, and it's because of women like her that younger generations are being able to take that next step and take it another step further. And she told me of all the roles that she's had here at Notre Dame, she even was an interim athletic director in between Kevin and Jack. And she told me for those couple of months, she was undefeated. So we bring her up now as our Leadership Award, Missy Conboy.
Thank you, Allison. My table can sit down now. I've learned a couple lessons already today. One is from Mike Leap, is to keep it short, so I'll do my best to do that. Not to keep it short, but to do something good for you, which is keeping it short at this point. Salima, I didn't realize that you looked up to me so much. Salima and I are actually wearing the same jumpsuit today. We have a special bond as coach and administrator. But thank you so very much for this honor. When Jim and Mike reached out to me and said they wanted to award me the Leadership Award, my first impulse was to decline. Administrators are used to being a bit in the background, seen and not heard. But administrators are also fiscally responsible. So when I saw the lineup that was being honored today and realized that I would get a free ticket and a good seat in order to honor my colleagues and friends, I reconsidered and accepted. It's almost redundant to get an award for a career that has brought my family so many incredible experiences. I would sort those into three different categories: people, events, and opportunities. When I think about the incredibly impressive people that I've been associated with and that I've gotten to work with and learn from during my tenure, beginning with many of the people being honored here today, it is a very long and impressive list. I had a chance to work and learn from the finest athletic directors in the country. I'm starting with Kevin's dad, who hired me and then, before I even started work, left to go be the ACC commissioner. I don't know that those two things were related, but they could have been. And then I worked since then with Dick Rosenthal, Mike Wadsworth, Kevin White, Jack Swarbrick, and now athletic director in waiting, Pete Bavacqua. That is an all-star list of leaders. People would pay top dollar to spend an hour with any of those individuals, and I get to work alongside them every day. I was surrounded by incredible colleagues, names like Bubba, Boo, Bernard, Bill, Jill, Nina, Sandy, Jim, all of who used to work at Notre Dame and have gone on to work at places like North Carolina State, Duke, Stanford, Northwestern, Marquette, St. Joseph's, and so many more individuals who chose to stay here, people like Jim Frawley and Brian Proct. I'm going to call out Tricia too. She's not in the athletic department, but she's somebody who's worked with us for years. And those are all people that I have incredible respect for, and people who are leaders in intercollegiate athletics, and I've been so fortunate to work with them. I got to take part in hiring beloved coaches at Notre Dame. Three of them, maybe more, are here today, Kevin being one of them, Debbie Brown, former volleyball coach, and Salima Rockwell, our current volleyball coach. It's been just such a privilege to be able to find those people who have the ability to use athletics as a tool to build future leaders from our student athletes. And I've gotten to know those future leaders, and I look around the room and see some of them. Obviously, Haley Scott DeMaria, a dear friend who's sitting at my table, but also LaFonso Ellis. Remember well, the time you were here at Notre Dame, and I used to have to go give the compliance talks to the student athletes. They really loved that. But again, LaFonso is somebody that I've stayed in touch with through the years, and it's always a treat to see him. And then second, what other job would allow you to be part of so many incredible moments? Looking back to my first national championship as an administrator, the football team back in 1988, to the most recent national championship, the lacrosse team in 2023, and so many in between, including two for the women's basketball program that I was a part of. I've just had this incredible opportunity to witness Notre Dame history over 36 years, and that's truly a privilege. One of the most impactful events for me personally, and Salima mentioned it in the video, was the opportunity to bring back 250 women who had been instrumental in starting the first women's athletic club sports programs at Notre Dame. And they were really the leaders who helped propel Notre Dame women's athletics to where it is today. And finally, and some of this has already been mentioned, but I could not begin to list all the incredible work opportunities I was able to be a part of. And for 15 years, was able to impact the landscape here at Notre Dame by being part of so many construction and renovation projects. One that, of course, would be impactful for this group is my work on the Campus Crossroads project. And I had the enviable and perhaps unenviable task of renovating the house that Rockne built. You know, wow, exciting, but also incredibly intimidating. And our job was really to celebrate that tradition of the tradition of that historical structure, while at the same time incorporating some of the innovation that Rockne was known for in his time at Notre Dame and would have been so proud that we had incorporated today. The second project I'll mention very briefly was the renovation of the Rolfs Rec Sports into a basketball practice for our male and female student athletes. I have to say that during my playing days at Notre Dame, during the early years of coeducation, it wasn't really equitable. So I made sure as we built that building, as we renovated that structure, that every aspect of that building was absolutely going to be equal for our male and female student athletes. Truth be told, I spent a little bit more on the women's side just for spite, out of spite, but what an incredible project to be a part of. In closing, I'd like to just say that I'm just honored to be here as part of this very impressive group of honorees. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my family, my husband, Bill Mountford, who has been dragged to more athletic events than anybody deserves to go to. He didn't go kicking and screaming as my daughters did. Unfortunately, they couldn't be here today. All have degrees from Notre Dame and are living in Chicago, San Diego, and Hawaii, so it was a little bit too much of a trip for them. My sister Katie, the president of St. Mary's, who's the real leader in our family, and sorry, Mom, and my mom, Tane Conboy, 90 years young, and together with my dad, they were early and avid advocates of Title IX, and you inspired us, your four daughters, to pursue fun and inspiring leadership opportunities. Thanks, you, Mom. Thank you.
Missy is competing with Murphs for the best tear jerk moment up here on stage. That was amazing. And also, I want to give a shout out to your hair. I love the most beautiful auburn curls I've ever seen. Hair goals right there. We are in the home stretch, everyone, so hang in there because the big one's coming. Our Living Legend Award.
Being under the tutelage of Era Parsegian, telling me a long time ago that talent is not enough. It's performance that we're looking for. So if you work hard at your craft, you keep an open mind, you allow yourself to be taught, because you may think that you're an all-star right now. High school's over. It's time to learn a new trade. So he gave me the formula. Do the work, do your job. You want to look to the future. The future is about performance. He never promised me that I would become an All-American. He never said you're going to be a professional athlete. He just said, if you come and make a contribution, your reward will be, at minimum, a tremendous education. And that's really all I wanted to hear, because that was the ultimate goal. Education was the hallmark for me. Education, athletics, important, but environment, a positive environment.
The career record holder for receptions. You held both of those for 36 years. You were the first African-American captain here at Notre Dame. 1970 consensus All-American, inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. Just a stellar, stellar career. What does it mean to you to be back here on campus?
I'm back home. It's family. I'm a monogram winner for that.
Tom Gatewood, as you saw, we've had Tom on our show a couple of times, one of my favorite guests of all time. And it's not just because of how great of a player he was, which he was a great player, a Hall of Famer, but it's because of the person that he is and the connection that he made with me. He sends me a Christmas text message every year, and every time it catches me off guard, I think, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he would think to say Merry Christmas to me. And I think that just speaks to the type of person that he is. And he talked about one of his favorite moments at Notre Dame to me, and he said it was when he caught one of his first touchdown passes in front of his parents who were there watching him for the very first time, and the crowd was cheering his name, and his parents were able to join along with that crowd. I have goosebumps saying that because I can only imagine the feeling that that would be for them, but also for him as a player. And the times that we've had him on the show, my favorite moment of having him on stage with me was not just talking about him as a player, but it was bringing his family along as well. Some of you may know his grandson, A.J. Dillon, is now a running back for the Green Bay Packers. And he was here playing against Notre Dame a few years ago, but he brought your daughter, his AJ's mother, his grandkids, and the whole family came up on stage, and it was just so neat to be a part of that and just really fully experience what the Notre Dame family is all about. And now I'm also glad to say that Tom is not only our winner here today, but he's also a great grandfather as well. So we would like to bring up at this time the living legend, Tom Gatewood.
Okay, Allison, how much do I owe you? She should work for a PR firm, I tell you. Yes, there's so many things I've heard today, so many things I've thought about in the past. It really comes down to a word that I've been throwing around when my wife, Susan, stand up, Susan. She said to me, what are you going to talk about? I said, I'm going to talk about connectivity. So I heard about connection. I heard that. That's like reaching out, getting a longer arm. You want to reach as many people as you can. Today they call them influencers. In my day, they called impactors. I love people. I love Notre Dame. And I look out here, I'd like to reach as far as I can, and as far as I can, bring something positive to the table. We don't need any negative things. Bring positivity. Reach out. One point leads to another point. I'm going to see if I can ask the audience to react with me. How many people in the audience, and you have to stand, are relatives, friends, neighbors, former teammates, classmates? Can you rise? Who fit that description? Okay, now, thank you. That's a good percentage of people in this room. What I wanted to talk about, again, back to connectivity, it's the same thing. I'm going to ask you to do another physical thing. This is good to stretch your legs, you know. It's like when you catch a pass in an arena, it takes a certain period of time to go from the quarterback's hand to your hands. That touchdown that my mother saw in Yankee Stadium, and the first time seeing me play any sport, at that game, I got a 55-yard touchdown. Joe Theismann threw it. We were a connection. We were such a connection that just short of 3 catches, I was the leading catcher in the entire NCAA until the last game of the season in 1970. That's a lot of connection. And you learn a lot about the person connecting with you. But the thing that intrigued me most about that success of a toss to a catch is when it's a long bomb, there's a long time period that elapses. It could be 5 seconds, 6 seconds, depending on the length of the shot. So I'm going to demonstrate to you what receivers, wide receivers, receive mostly on those long passes, what the message is. Everyone's quiet right now. And as I'm running down the field to set up my catch, I don't hear anything at all. Fans aren't making a sound. But when that 7th second is up, it erupts in a huge, huge sound. So the next time you go to a game, could be tomorrow, and you're listening, and you see balls thrown by a pretty fair quarterback named Hartman, you know what you're going to hear? We'll demonstrate it. We're going to count off 7 seconds, and I'm going to charge it as if I can go 10 yards in 7 seconds. I better be able to go faster than that. But I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now scream as loud as you can. Stop. That's when I would hear, because I would get that question a lot. How do you keep your nerves under control when you're in a stadium that's 80,000, 90,000, 100,000 people? Just think about that. Think of yourselves on the 50-yard line with that many people just cheering for you. That's how I hope the stadium is set up against Ohio State, that you got all 80,000 belong to us. But the other key, though, that long burst of noise and fanfare is that you think, man, I'm vulnerable. I'm going to drop this ball. You know, you're running. What's the wind like? Where's the sun? Is it in the east, in the west? Rain coming soon? It's a 5-minute pass. It takes you forever to come back. You know what? That's when I celebrate. That's when I hear the crowd. And I got everything blacks out. Whereas the opposite, you think everything is blacking out while you're there talking about everything. What am I having for dinner? You know, what's going on? It's frightening for people who don't know how to relax. That's a relaxing time for me. That's how I played ball. When I'm making contact with a defender, it's raw power. You want to break that tackle if he's anywhere near you. But if you're on the fly run, I saw a couple of plays that took place there, and I was going, wow, that's pretty good, not bad. But you're in a trance. You're in a trance, and so that happened quite a few times. It was a connection. Make a connection. People called it today networking. It's the same thing. Reach out and touch. There were so many people who were so kind to me when I was here. I came back with my wife to live here. That group over there is my family. That's environment. You're in a positive environment at Notre Dame. When people say, welcome to Notre Dame, hello, welcome to Notre Dame, You might think initially, if you're a stranger to the campus, that that statement is just, that's my job. My job is to say, welcome to Notre Dame. They mean it. And I know it, and I felt it 55 years ago. I moved back here. We've been here for 6 years. It's an environment that I love. Love, big important thing. Love my teammates. Pete Chiavarelli over there is a really nice guy. He knows how to keep you alive at a party when you might be a little nervous. You got opponents that you're going to be hanging out with for 60 minutes. 60 minutes. Connect to that thought for a second. 60 minutes. Not very long. It's an hour. When it really comes down to it and the clock stops and starts, stops and starts, stops and starts, and then you look at how long are you actually on the field during that 60 minutes? Not very long. You're in and out in 3 downs. You're going on a long drive. You're there for a while. But every time the play stops, you're off the clock. You'd think you're playing 3 hours, 4 hours. No, that's the folks at home watching the commercials. That's why they do it that way. You know, we say, oh, time out, time out. It's all flowing that way. I got really my first training for the communication field that I was growing up in because of a man named Roger Valdesari. Roger was a sports information director, but more than that, he was a mentor, someone who could train you how to listen. Big word. Listen. You're listening to someone who's going to connect to you. And in the role of a mentor and a teacher, he left me with these words. Your message is much louder when spoken from the heart. Mind, body, soul. Mind for intelligence. We all want that. Body, the stronger you are physically, it helps your mentality. Spirit. Spirit is tied to love and reality. I wore a lot of helmets while at Notre Dame. Didn't have a lot of Buckeyes on my helmet. You know, that kind of, I thought I was making a big contribution, having fun, respecting my head coach. Because I said, you know, that connection about learning how to listen. I was a good listener. I was such a good listener that I had to ask him one day, when are you going to give me the opportunity? That's the other key word. It's the key word for all of us. Having an education is important. My mother used the word education so many times. It became a part of me. I was 12 years old. I was balancing our family's checkbook. And to me now, when I think about it, I say, that's really weird. Why was I doing that? Because my mother, she said, I trust you. My mother liked going shopping, getting the bargains, doing things like that. And she said, why don't you take care of the checkbook? So I was really serious about money. And when she was talking about all this education, nobody, including my dad, who was working 6 days a week as a construction guy and a labor guy, and Sunday was his only day off for us. She forgot, and he forgot, about putting together a little nest egg for that education that they said, you need an education. That's where you got to go. You got to go that way. Without an education, you don't have preparation to enter the world. Wow. My mom's connecting to me now. She's telling me the rhyme or reason of why this education is so important. So I just went on a tear. And I played football without her knowing about it for at least 2 to 3 games of the first year I was on the varsity, because they didn't know sports. My mother knew nothing about sports. My dad knew nothing about sports. So it was easy to hide and camouflage. Well, where is he? Where is he? I had alibis. Basically, I was lying to mom for my own good, trying to nest egg some money or a method for getting that money. And then I said, well, a scholarship. I had a coach who cared about me and a mentor, George Young, and he said, you know, why don't you come out for the team? All my teammates were saying, come out for the team. So I just said, well, I'm going that route. That's maybe a way to break in and get it. Well, I got a scholarship. I wound up with 101 schools after me. Notre Dame was the last one. And they only got to me because my coach sent a film, sent a presentation, and within a couple of weeks, an offer was made to me. We want you. We want you. The scary part was that when I got there, Gene O'Neill, the equipment manager, was handing out all the equipment for the players who were coming in as freshmen. And he hands me this pile of equipment. The jersey number is number 44. Now, in those days, 55 years ago, 44 was a running back. I was a receiver in high school. My whole foundation was catching the ball. Well, that went away for my freshman year and until my sophomore year when I started nudging the coach. And I said, Coach, I'm ready. Can I switch positions? I want to be a. He said, well, you can have that if you want to go down to the 8th spot on the chart, you can do that. It was worth it to me. It gave me ease and peace of mind. And one of the nicknames I got because of Roger Baldessari being a man of communication. Roger just, he decided that, what you're doing right now, I'm going to call the swinging gate. Now that sounds like a fashion statement. Swinger, swinger, hanging out all the social engagements, having fun. In case you haven't realized it yet, I am really relaxed right now. I feel at home, and I am at home. Now, at 6 years into it, I'm at home. But Roger Baldessari was teaching me everything I could know about communication. When a mic or a camera is on someone, you want to draw something out of them. But sometimes it helps to give them a little bit of schooling and training. I was a wallflower as a kid. For me, the last thing I want to talk about is myself. Roger was able to transform me and say, you can talk about yourself, but you put it in an unselfish, tone. Communication is the two-way connection. There's that word again, connection. I'm going to leave you with one message. Need glasses for that. Being the first of my generation to earn a college degree was a great moment for my family as well as myself. They wanted that so badly. I had an uncle, Clifton, who was a minister now. Once he got his education at Morgan State College in Baltimore, he was the first Gatewood to be a college degree holder. He immediately became a mentor for me when I was 12 years old and started getting me ready and understanding to be prepared, be prepared. And as that continued, Mom and Dad became softer about, oh, that athletic scholarship may be the road. So it was easier for me to get in that door. The mission that my parents and Uncle Cliff had for me was that education. So here you go. My mission was accomplished after about 13 cars of relatives from Baltimore came up with my parents to wish me well and great for that diploma with honors. My mission, that was my mission. It's accomplished. But it would not have happened without the support of friends, family, coaches, teammates, without. No one described as a legend ever becomes one on their own. It's a shared victory. That's what we have in this room. That's what I hope we have tomorrow night after that game and the dust settles. I love you. I want you in my heart forever. Bye-bye.
There is no one like Tom Gatewood. Now, before we wrap things up today, we're almost done, but before we wrap things up, I'd like to bring up Terry Vitale. Now, she earned 3 monograms with the Notre Dame tennis team. She's a 1994 graduate, earned her MBA, graduating summa cum laude in 1995. She served as president of the Monogram Club from 2017 to 2019. Her husband is a Notre Dame grad and a lacrosse player. Her children play tennis and lacrosse at Notre Dame, and she is all Irish. Come on up.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Allison. I want to thank Jim on behalf of my family. Probably a lot of you are wondering why I'm even up here, that you don't see me in the program or anything, but Jim was kind enough when he heard that my dad, Dick Vitale, was going to be in town this weekend. He wanted to offer a kind gesture and recognize him today. So we are so grateful, but I wanted to first congratulate all of the incredible award recipients today. I think I personally know pretty much all of you and know just, I think nothing is more evident as what makes Notre Dame so special when you hear the stories of the people that were honored here today. And so while Notre Dame is an incredible place and we have the beauty of the campus, I think what truly makes Notre Dame special is what you heard today, and is the people. And the people certainly made my experience here at Notre Dame. I have 2 children here. It makes their experience so rich, and it has touched our family in such incredibly powerful ways. Many of you may know that my dad is recently in his 3rd battle with cancer. And so coming here is just filled with incredible memories. He is unable to speak, so that's why you get me today and not him. But I am just truly honored to be here. And when you think about what Knute Rockne's legacy is and what the Spirit of Sports Award is, you know, sports is certainly intertwined in my family experience and my family's life. And I think you heard today that sports is not, maybe not the final score or the touchdowns or the national championships, but it's the relationships. And those are the things that propel everyone forward. I know sports, you also learn about adversity. And my dad's just going through a tough time right now, but he's fighting and he's going to overcome it. And he has received so much inspiration. And when I look at the award that Jim developed for him today, it's the Knute Rockne Spirit of Sports Inspiration Award. And I think that that's what my dad is. He tries to inspire others. When he was a coach, he certainly inspired me as a child, growing up and having the opportunity to come here to the University of Notre Dame. And he's received inspiration. Many of you know that he has spent many of his recent years raising money for the V Foundation for Cancer Research. He is dedicated his life in raising money for pediatric cancer in particular. And he receives inspiration from those children who have overcome cancer, and they have helped motivate him in his recent battle. So on behalf of the Vitale family, I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity and providing this incredible memory for my dad and all of us. So thank you, and go Irish.
We would like to invite Dick Vitale to come up on stage and accept his award. He will not be able to speak, but we would love to have him come up on stage so you can see him. Thank you so much. He said, I had no idea. You can see the emotion in his face and what this means to him. And all of us, I feel like I'm speaking on all of our behalf, but we've been watching his battle on social media. He's been sharing the journey of what he's been going through. And as difficult as it is, he always keeps that smile on his face. And if I may, he is awesome, baby. Thank you so much. We are praying for you. And we are proud of you. And we're proud to have you be a part of this Notre Dame family and, of course, the Knute Rockne Memorial Awards. Thank you all for being here today, and we appreciate everything that you've done to be here. And now we encourage you to go have a drink over at Roar's, and Murph will pour you the perfect libation. Thank you so much. Go Irish.